everybody. Welcome back to our show. My name is Jade.
And I'm Scott.
And we are going to break down episode 2 of Listen to Your Heart, the spinoff show from The Bachelor. We finished watching episode 2 just a couple of minutes ago. Scott, a lot to unpack in this episode, actually.
Yeah, there's a lot happening, a lot of switcheroos, and people are gone, and yeah, that's week 2.
Well, for those who have listened to us before, they know that you have not experienced a Bachelor show. I feel like tonight was kind of the real sense of The Bachelor. There were just so many things going on, so many couples. What do you think of the pace this week?
Yeah, it's a lot happening. I didn't realize people would just be like switching their partners so quickly. So that was no loyalty between Rose ceremony of week 1 and now. And I think, it was at least nice to see. I think week 1 they had a lot less time to spend with people. So it was like good to see a few more days go by.
Like a week?
Yeah, like, a good like more than 72 hours. So
yeah, it was good. This week was good. Like you said, a lot of kind of switches happened on this episode, but we can just kick it off from the beginning. So in the first couple of minutes, they announce the dates are starting, and we kick it off with Trevor, and Jamie gets to go on another date.
Yeah, she has really been the star of the show in terms of airtime.
They're pushing her for sure. And so they go to the Venice Boardwalk, they do a little singing number, and then head to a hot tub on a roof, which you don't know this, but that's a Bachelor staple. You seem confused.
I was confused. I thought there was just like hot tubs available for the public in Los Angeles. So that's not true. They did make $23 singing on the street though, so I'm wondering how they split that, like $11.50 or
I thought she said it was like 86.
Oh, was it? I saw 23. Maybe I missed the other part. They made some amount of money.
They did make some money. And again, he is just not a very good singer. So she was all nervous about, I don't know if I'm going to be good enough singing with him. And I kind of laughed because we heard him last week and it was a little, he's been on American Idol, they said. What?
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen America. I can't say I've been keeping track of American Idol, so I don't know where he fits in.
Yeah, but yeah. Singing goes smoothly. We head to the hot tub, and then what does she tell him in the hot tub, Scott?
That every relationship she's ever been on, she's been cheated on. I mean, she's only 21, so she hasn't probably had a ton of relationships, but still, that's not a great track record.
No, it sounded like quite a few relationships, but I think the key takeaway, though, from that share was the response that she got, which was, me and my last girlfriend just, grew apart. We weren't compatible, blah, blah, blah. So they ended the date on what seemed like a high note. While they were gone, Natasha showed up. So we got some fresh meat. What'd you think of her?
I liked how they introduced Natasha just because, do you want me to spoil that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So right before they introduced Natasha on screen, Jamie quotes, "Nothing can go wrong now," or something along those lines. And in walks Natasha. And she was, as soon as she heard Trevor's name, I think she was ready to spill the beans on his history.
Yeah, so she knows his ex-girlfriend, which is perfect because he actually had cheated. So Natasha confronts him. Jamie and Trevor come from the date. Natasha says, "Let's chat, bro." Brings him into a room and says, "I know you. I know your ex-girlfriend. And I know you cheated." And his response was, it was just emotional cheating.
Yeah.
What'd you say to that?
I haven't heard that defense before, so it's creative, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure I buy any of it, but yeah. So
Yeah.
that was his argument. It was just emotional, and he's sticking to that story.
He is sticking to it. But Natasha called out, and I kind of agree. She said emotional cheating can be worse than physical cheating, and I do think that when people do that, it is very harmful, and can be really hurtful. So definitely wasn't good news for Jamie.
No, that was a shocker for her. Just as she thought nothing could go wrong, something does go wrong.
And
who would have guessed?
Give a recap of how the conversation between Jamie and Trevor went, because I loved your reaction.
Maybe my favorite conversation of this episode. So after Trevor and Natasha talk, Jamie and Trevor go sit down, and essentially she says, what did she say? Cheating is a deal breaker for me. I told you that, Trevor. And then she proceeds to listen to Trevor for a few seconds and then start kissing Trevor again. So I don't know if she really knows the definition of deal breaker, but we'll see.
Oh, yeah, it's so uncomfortable, and especially because she said to him on the date, I've been cheated on in every relationship I've been in, and then he said nothing.
Yeah.
You know that boy is deceitful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and yeah. So it looks like it's that streak may stay alive.
Yeah, so they somehow are able to resolve that, move past it. I just want to acknowledge too, am I saying her name wrong or are you saying her name wrong? Because I say Natasha.
What have I said? And I say Natasha. Oh, I mean, maybe that's just the Canadian in me. I don't know. It's like how how Canadians say pasta. We say pasta, not pasta. Yeah, so that must be a Canadian thing. I don't know. I don't know who's right. I guess I'll have to re-listen to the show. Like next week 3, we'll really find out how Natasha or Natasha says her name. Let's pay attention to that.
I loved it because you said it the first couple of times, and I was like, I'm probably pronouncing this wrong, but
no, that's definitely how I would say it all the time.
The Canadian spin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, so we get past kind of the cheating fiasco, no real growth personally, or I was just disappointed with her, like, whatever. Moving on. Bree and Chris are the next couple to go on a date, and these two are just smooth sailing.
Oh yeah, they're ready to wrap this whole thing up in 6 episodes. They'll be married before the show's over. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, they went and looked at some guitars and sang some music, and Bree was pretty much ready to drop an album, and
yeah, she got really close. And I don't know how this hit you, so I do want to see, like, boy girl, how this story impacted you. But she did tell Chris about her ex-fiance and how they kind of ended, and it was so sad. She said she was trying on her wedding dress. She said she found the perfect one, and she told him, like, I found the dress, and he texted her or called her and said, don't get it, and that's kind of how things ended. So for me, that was heartbreaking.
Yeah, I'm gonna sound less heartbreaking for me. My reaction was, well, at least she didn't spend all that money on the dress, because I don't know how wedding dress returns go. I can't imagine that's a smooth process. So yeah, terrible for her, but at least that credit card bill was saved. That's the silver lining. Yeah.
You would find the bright side in that situation, because I was just emotionally crushed for her. But they kind of ended the date. They sang this little duet of I Can't Help Falling in Love with You. And I don't know, they just seem so perfect. I love them. I think they're very sweet. But no drama. So moving on.
Yeah.
To Julia and Sheridan. We're date number 3 of the night. I
Right.
think it went out. So there were some awkward parts, but went okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they went to the radio show and did an interview, sang a song, had a kiss. Yeah.
You forgot though the awkward part where they're live on the radio and the radio host says, "Who's kissed somebody else?" And Sheridan had to be like, "No." Julia's like, "Yeah."
Yeah. Yeah. Sheridan's at this point of the show definitely far more emotionally invested in their relationship than Julia is.
Yeah, and it's hard because I don't really see her as someone who's not genuine. I feel like she's trying to like him or get to know him, but just not as quickly falling as he is. And that became pretty clear later on in the episode. So kind of third party here that we need to talk about is Brandon. But I will say I did give props to Julia because she did come up to Sheridan the next day before she went and talked to Brandon and said, "Look, I like you, but I do have these feelings for somebody else, and I want to feel like I can continue to get to know them." So I thought that was nice that she at least expressed that to him kind of before, acting on her feelings.
Oh yeah, totally. She's like nice and open and honest about it. Like they're there in that big house to meet people, and so she's letting Sheridan know, and Sheridan's very much like, I don't want to meet anyone else in the house except you, Julia, and it's probably like making her want to go talk with Brandon or whoever else even more. So
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate. I mean, people normally react one of two ways to that type of affection. It's like they buy into it or they run. She's definitely a runner. She's not giving into that one. So bring in Brandon, who this episode Mel referred to several times as the hot commodity, which I did not see coming. Yeah, Brandon, Mel, Savannah, Julia. Was there anybody else this episode that he kissed or talked to?
I feel like there was someone else that was at least talking about Brandon, but we can safely say there's like a solid 3 contenders vying for Brandon's attention.
Yeah, which brings us to the last date. So Savannah did get the last date card. It was 4 dates in one night. This was like a whirlwind of an evening. And Savannah, to no surprise, asks Brandon. So they go to a jazz club. I thought that was kind of your vibe.
Yeah, I like a good jazz club. I like any sort of like music club where I don't have to like get up and dance. I can just sit and chill out. That's like my perfect like setup. So jazz clubs, blues clubs, things like that, where I can sit and just have a drink. I'm into it.
Yeah, we're the opposite in that regard. This was not my ideal date, although it looked like, it looked cool. But what did you think of the interactions on this date? I hope my face didn't give away what I thought.
No, I don't know. He was fine, I guess. I'm not super. I think like when they were up there singing on the stage at the jazz club, oh, watch that mic. Yeah, I think the jazz club, like when they were singing together, wasn't, I don't know, it felt less natural, I think, than like a different music venue for them might have. I don't know if it was really in either of their wheelhouse, but I don't really seem to enjoy it, so.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the spark there, if I'm being honest. I think definitely physical, like they want to explore that, but emotionally compared to some of the other relationships that we've seen, I don't feel it with them at all.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think it's clear Brandon's got multiple contenders waiting in the wings too, so.
Yeah, it's true. And we need to mention, so somewhere in this episode, we mentioned Natasha's new, also 2 other new girls, Ruby and Mariana, come in at some point. So one of those girls did mention Brandon. That's who.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I talked about him. So it basically 4 dates are over. Still up in the air as to kind of what Brandon's feeling, as you said, and we get to rose ceremony, which is now boys' night. So the boys get to hand out the roses. And people kind of start to fall apart or go a little crazy, which is always to be expected, rose ceremony evening.
Yeah.
But saw Natasha and Ryan together, which is a little bit, they do seem odd to me, but I kind of like them. I hope that they really do like each other.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. We didn't get a ton of screen time with them this week, so we'll probably learn a little bit more in week 3 what's going on.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some of the ladies that lost their marbles tonight. So,
yes.
Want to start with Mel?
Yeah, Mel did lose it. She was worried about going home. She was feeling very strong feelings for Brandon and went after it hard. And Brandon didn't reciprocate, I don't think. Like, I'm not sure if he wasn't feeling their makeout session or what happened, but it was, yeah, she went hard, and pretty much to the point where she's like, this is like the most important moment of my life if Brandon doesn't give me this rose. I'm like, whoa, that is a big statement. Dial it back, Mel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to remind you that I said last week that this girl does not have emotional maturity in relationships, because last week she went on a date with Matt, then gave her rose to Gabe, and she's just kind of awkward. Like, I really struggle to watch her talk to men, and I think it's unfortunate, because I think she does like them and is really trying, but there was one point where she was so close to his face, and I was like, pick up on the signals, woman, back up. And
yeah, no, as someone who's also been told they're awkward, I feel for her, but yeah, it was tough to watch.
Yeah, so she lost it. She cried tonight, was definitely upset about that. So she had a breakdown, and then to my favorite crazy girl, Rudy, who I knew would come on in at the end there and give us a little juice.
Yeah, she came in hot with the crazy. Where to begin? I think we have to go back to really dissect this. We need to go back to week 1, where she was feeling it with Matt, and then Matt went on a date with Mel, and then Rudy was very upset with Matt. Let him hear it. Like, well, this is over. Rudy will not pair up with Matt again. And then this week it's like, oh, I need to get a rose. Matt, what's going on? Like, just total 180 back into Matt, and yeah, just chased him down.
Yeah, but he ate the craziness right up, as we knew he would.
Yeah.
We always talk about before the episode what's going to happen tonight. That was one of my predictions. So
yeah, I missed it, and it was funny too. Before he gave his rose to Rudy, Jamie broke it down very nicely, because week one, Matt gets a rose from Cheyenne, and Jamie says of Cheyenne, she's very like sweet and genuine and nice, and it's like, yeah, Matt, why wouldn't you like return the favor and give her a rose? And then Jamie's also like describing Cheyenne as sweet and genuine, and she's like, and then Rudy is essentially just kind of crazy. And then Matt goes, Rudy, will you take this rose? Like, oh,
I love that. I don't know if you caught on to that, but Jamie and Rudy are like best friends in the house. So I love
did
that.
catch that.
they're always together. So she couldn't even like pick her versus, another girl in the house that she's not as close with. So I thought it was funny. But yeah, that one definitely is gonna, I'm sure, spark some continuing drama as we move throughout the season. Anything from tonight that really stood out to you as like, did you have a favorite kiss?
Well, I mean, we were texting about it as we were watching, so I think I've got to say my favorite kiss was the Natasha, the Natasha kiss, because just how much she went for it. I think you just have to, but you did the perfect expression there, just a big mouth right after it, and that was funny.
It was so uncomfortable. I've never seen somebody go in like that wide mouthed before. Yeah. Like, it wasn't even like it was she eased into it. It was like she ate half of his face.
Yeah.
To start the night. So
no, she does great at dental exams. Like, dentists love her. They can see all her teeth.
I love it. It worked though. So maybe you should give that a try next time.
Next time, yeah. Writing it down in my notes.
Next time you have a date out of quarantine, you can go for the wide open mouth and let me know how that goes.
Yeah. And just say, don't worry, I saw this on The Bachelor Presents. Listen to your heart.
Oh, that sounds like a nightmare. No offense.
It would be a nightmare.
But yeah, overall, they alluded to definitely some crying and drama that involves Brandon next week. But yeah, I don't know. I think I don't have a ton of favorites on this season yet. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to see. It's only been 2 weeks to really choose a favorite. It's been 2 weeks now, and Danny and Becca have been together both those rose ceremonies, and they've maybe got 70 seconds of total screen time. Like, they're barely on there. So I'd like to see what's going on there at least a little bit.
He's not doing all the troublemaking that you predicted.
Yeah,
though.
He is not being the bad boy jean jacket wearer that I predicted. And I haven't heard Becca sing one musical theater song either. So yeah, they're both not bringing what I wanted to the table.
Yeah, it's true. I feel maybe they're not gonna be super highlighted, but we'll see. They did bring some of the more hidden couples like Chris and Bree to the forefront this week, so maybe they'll get some time. But yeah, super excited to see how the season goes. I'm trying to think, what couples do we see right now that we think could make it to the end?
Well, I guess first then I have a question, because now that we've got 8 men and 8 women left, how does this work? How do people is it like an elimination thing, or is it just those 16 hang out for the next 4 weeks? I don't know how this works.
I'm in it the same as you are. So normally on Bachelor in Paradise, they just keep bringing new people every week, but they did show us that next week they'll start to do competition. So I think they might start sending couples home maybe next week. Okay. So we'll see. Yeah. But I don't get the sense. I feel like we saw the whole cast right before the show previewed. I think everybody's here now.
Yeah. There's no mystery people left, unless it's not on the website. So I think we're safe to say that everybody's there. And so, so to think who's going to make it to the end, I think, like you touched on it earlier, Chris and Bree seem like a pretty strong couple. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Brandon and all of his suitors next week.
Yeah.
I don't see the Trevor and Jamie thing making it to the end.
No, definitely not.
So,
Yeah, he grosses me out. Sorry, I get the slimiest feeling from him. I don't know though. Guess who my pick was in the beginning, and I think I'm gonna be right.
Who did you pick? I forget now.
I think it was Ryan and Natasha.
Oh,
Natasha.
really? Natasha.
Natasha.
Natasha?
Yeah, I think I had those two. So
Okay. No, good pick. You saw it coming.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's smart. I'm interested too, I guess, to see how week 3 goes with Sheridan and Julia, because he picked her in the rose after she kind of said, "I'm not feeling it," and he's ignoring all her messaging.
Yeah, I'm calling that they fall apart next
Okay.
week. Julia and Brandon really start to hit it off. Savannah goes crazy. That's my bet.
No, that's good. If you've already picked Ryan and Natasha, I'll trust your judgment. I've picked no. I've been wrong on all my predictions. So
Well, we'll see what happens, but I'm looking forward to it.
okay, yeah, it's been great. So yeah, I think that's probably all for us this week then. The show will be on again next week, 8 p.m. Eastern on ABC, and we'll have our show up on YouTube shortly afterwards. And also, if you're just looking for audio versions, you can find that anywhere that you get your podcasts. And that's been week 2 of our Listen to Your Heart recap show with Jade and Scott.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks.